Bienvenidos. This is King Christian, aka Nacho for Jesus News. Today's feature commentary is called Common Sense is Not Common. Sanity is based on common sense, which is defined as good sense and sound or prudent judgment in practical matters and perception of situations or facts, possessing wisdom, sensibility, and discretion, being level headed, realistic, reasonable, and practical. Common sense is based on what physically is true reality, not on what personally is false reality. People with common sense have the ability to distinguish between fantasies and facts, between personal truth and physical truth, between personal realizations and physical reality. The anti common sense progressive movement of today is based on DEI, social uniformity, forced equality, identity politics, political correctness, and compelled speech, which are irrational, contradictory, and dangerous neo Marxist ideologies. Common sense is the ability to know what is morally right or wrong. A part of having common sense or sanity is understanding the following facts about life. 1. We are our own worst enemy and cannot fully trust ourselves because imperfect or corrupt human beings produce imperfect and corrupt values, identities, and lifestyles. 2. Liberal values based on the contradictory and self-defeating philosophy of moral relativism makes their progressive values and ideologies indefinite, non-absolute, and relative. 3. No one is above God's moral laws or a moral law unto themselves. 4. The facts don't care about our feelings, and the height of stupidity is believing our own stuff, because the second you consider yourself above self-deception is the second you have already been deceived. 5. A smart person seeks out wise counselors to point them in the right direction when faced with a crisis of conscience or identity, as no one is an island unto themselves. 6. There are 3 views to a debate or issue: your view, the other person's view, and the right view or perfect view, God's perfect view. 7. Sinners need a savior, as they cannot save or fix themselves, as they are the problem. In other words, you cannot fix the problem with the problem. The death of common sense is one of the greatest perils of our modern culture. People can lose touch with reality when they believe and feel the wrong things. A chronic lack of common sense could indicate an underlying mental disorder. The National Institute of Mental Health defines someone who is psychotic as out of touch with reality, likely experiencing false beliefs known as delusions or false sights or sounds known as hallucinations. Psychosis is often described as a loss of reality or a break from reality because you experience or believe things that aren't real. It can change the way you think, act, feel, or sense things. Below are the principles of common sense. Moral integrity must guide our values. Rational perceptions must guide our feelings. Natural identifications must guide our personhood. Objective reasoning must guide our thinking. Physical reality must guide our morality. There are 4 established laws of reasoning and philosophy which Aristotle and Plato first articulated that should govern how we think. 1. The law of non-contradiction. 2 contradictory views cannot be true at the same time. 2. The law of excluded middle. There is no middle ground between something being true and being false. Every statement has to be one or the other. 3. The law of identity. Each thing must be identical with itself to be true. 4. The law of consequent or sufficient reason. Everything must be grounded in physical facts and reality to be true. There are also 5 laws of critical thinking. 1. Collecting information. Once you've gathered all the information you need, you can move to the next step of evaluating that information. The main mark of self-deception is believing your own stuff or only having a one-sided view of things. 2. Evaluating information. In evaluating information, errors in reasoning need to be evaluated, such as logical inconsistencies, false or relative assumptions, ambiguity or subjective beliefs, and physical contradictions. Both sides of the argument must be equally evaluated to arrive at an objective view of any issue. 3. Drawing conclusions. Conclusions can only be drawn after all the information's gathered. 4. Evaluating those conclusions. It is important to measure the results of our conclusions to confirm that we are on the right track with our beliefs. 5. Respecting moral social norms. Respectful people will honor the moral social norms of society which serve as the foundation for our civilization. Someone who violates moral and social norms is called a sociopath. Antisocial personality disorder, sometimes called sociopathy, is a mental health disorder in which a person shows no regard for established conventional morality and the associated rights and feelings of others. In conclusion, let's ask the question: if everything in life which is less important than morality, like mathematics, language, engineering, science, biology, medicine, philosophy, music, art, sports, education, business, politics, history, law, traffic or driving, construction, building, manufacturing, agriculture, farming, parenting, nutrition, cooking, fitness, etc., have universal standards, rules, guidelines, acts, laws, bylaws, instructions, and manuals, then why do we think that morality would not also be governed by fixed or unchangeable, universal, and absolute standards? It just makes common sense to believe that morality, sexuality, and gender are fixed and absolute, like everything else in life is. Moral absolutes or absolute truth makes common sense because it provides a shared or common human narrative that provides a conventional, stable, normal, healthy, respectful, united, and peaceful coexistence for all. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe. Adios a todos.